What's up out there, folks? I am the ghost of Kilowave, here in spirit only, after 2 nights of Eggy crushing it. I'd like to introduce my co-hosts, Alexius and Jason.
What's up,
What's
everybody?
up? What's up? Happy week, everyone. I hope you are having an awesome one and have had an amazing weekend.
That's right. It's been a pretty crazy weekend on the East Coast. A lot of great shows that went down. I certainly saw two pretty incredible Eggy performances. The first night in Philadelphia, which was a very solid show of mostly Eggy songs and just a great venue, great vibe. And then there was last night at Webster Hall. Like, oh my gosh, Hamilton Leithhauser. I apologize for not saying his name correctly, but he's an indie musician. He came out and sang a song by the Violent Femmes and a song by Warren Zevon, which was pretty crazy. And they also busted out Barracuda by Heart.
No way.
From that show that they did a month ago. So that was really exciting. They ended the show with Why Should I Worry by Billy Joel. So it's definitely just an all-out Big Apple rager.
Yeah.
So I know that Alexius crushed it on Friday with Spafford and did her first ever review for Grateful Web.
Oh man, that was a very, very, very special 24 or what would you say? Like
full circle.
Full circle. So the first time I was doing photography, after the epilepsy and everything, I went out with Spafford and with Eggy, so who we're talking about both now on this episode. And they were just like, hey, come out, do some photography with us. And then so many years later, a few years later, here I am doing my first Grateful Web interview with Spafford. And I was just like, wow, how the world goes round and how this happens. And just what an amazing blessing, opportunity, just anything that words just can't describe. I'm not 100% fangirl right now. 100%. So, and they were just amazing people, the most amazing guys. And, as we all know, they had a switch up in band members. In Red the keyboardist is no longer Red the keyboardist. And then the bass player got replaced also. And I can't tell you just how well these guys are gelling. So definitely check out the article on Grateful Web, and it has much more detail in it and things, and you'll be able to see, and you're going to be able to get a lot more detail from what happened at the Eggy shows this weekend with Jamie and the ghost of Kilowave. And
Kilowave, yeah, Jamie will rise again. We're not playing with a full deck right now. However, my review is potentially out there, publishing at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So,
this lady says, "Oh, I'm not functioning at this." This lady functions at like 1,000 times higher level than anyone could ever possibly function. So, girl, you don't give yourself enough credit, but you're absolutely amazing. And so,
that's why
likewise.
Love you bunches.
Absolutely outstanding job over there, girl.
Thank you. You too, girlfriend.
I admire both of you because both of you are very, very amazing artists.
Jason's got some
big shout out to Vinny, who does all of our video production.
Yes, and he's not with us tonight because Vinny, let me tell you, is the most amazing Italian man that you will meet on the planet.
He's the hardest working one on the podcast.
Oh yeah, he's nonstop working, and to me, I just think it's the most valuable thing. Like, when we're talking about dates and stuff, Sunday is never an option for him. That's what he does. Is his family. He does together
priorities.
Yeah, priorities, and what a lot of us have forgotten. And I respect beyond anything, above anything about him. He has 1,000 talents, but that tops it all.
Oh yeah, he also put out a really incredible video for Peak over the weekend.
Really?
Yeah,
I would recommend checking that out.
definitely check that out. Vinny's a star in the making. I don't even know how it's taken this long for him to be here, but he is a star in the making. And make sure that you keep up for Vinny. Is it Vallely? Is that how you say his?
Lily.
Yeah.
But I'm really not good with this pronunciation thing.
I'm not either.
So,
I'm not either.
And while we're just saying that, pay attention. Jason's got some constellation conception things out, and
a couple tie-dyes and
yeah,
some disco merch. So
and
just check it out at Constellation Conceptions on Instagram.
Yep, lots of stuff. We got lots of stuff going on the
tie-dyes, folks. The best.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but we've got lots of stuff going on in here, and so we're super pumped about it, and we're super pumped to have you along with us along this journey. And thank you for being here with us. And here we go, evolving and doing more things.
That's right. Oh yeah, like for our episode today, we're really excited because we have Fireside Collective joining us. They sat down with Jason and Alexius. Let's give it up for Fireside Collective for coming on the show.
So excited for them. They truly pumped it up for me. They were amazing. I grew up in the bluegrass, world, and they have done an amazing job of what would you say?
They are a fusion band of bluegrass, funk, folk, jam bands, and they're really awesome. Right now they have 2 singles out off their new album. It's called Down in the Holler and Whippoorwill, the first 2. And then on May 9th, they're releasing Something New. That's the name of the song. But
not just something new, but that's the name of the song. So I think everyone will definitely enjoy them. If you enjoy Billy Strings and you enjoy jam bands, it is a great collaborative of both, and I think it's something that a lot of people should check out.
You could compare it to like Working Man's Dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
so they're big Jerry Garcia fans and Dead fans. So.
Yes, they are. So, but
I'm definitely excited to check them out.
Do what?
I said I'm excited to check them out.
Yes, I'm so excited for you to check them out.
We're supposed to be going to check them out Friday, right?
Yes, we are supposed to. I was actually shocked. They, I know this is something that I said the last episode, but they actually earned shower music on this one too, on their Whippoorwill. I just was all about that song. So it's a great album, great singles dropping along the way, and most definitely worth checking out, and most definitely worth seeing them in person, because I have only heard the most amazing reviews about them.
Wow, that sounds really great. Well, yeah, I guess it's about time to start the interview.
Yeah, I know. Let's get to it. So I hope you very much enjoy the interview, and I hope you enjoy and hope to see you soon. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and like. And also, we are going to be giving giveaways. And if you are listening to the podcast, and you make sure to like and subscribe to Spotify or one of our other podcasts, you are going one of our other platforms, you are going to be able to receive this glass. And I have posted pictures online about it. I will post more pictures online about it. And it's hard to see with the thing.
It is a North Carolina beer 2025.
And
it's where they're supporting WNC, Western North Carolina, from the Hurricanes.
And also it's the North Carolina Brewers Guild, and they help out and support a lot of people that are trying to get breweries going, and different types of horticulture growing, so that not just all the tobacco land down here is going to waste. Let's make this, and let's make America this way great again. Like, let's find a way to use all this land that had been used for years, that we can still use and still do a lot of amazing things off of. So that is our first sponsor. So make sure that you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Spotify channel, and comment under one of our social medias, done, and you will be entered into the drawing. And we are so excited to talk with you more.
That's right. Have a great week out there, folks.
Hey guys, welcome to the Jamly Chick podcast. Today we have with us Jason.
What's up, everybody?
And also we're bringing on stage, we're super blessed to get Fireside Collective. So welcome to the stage, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We are super excited about this. And I think I'm more excited than anyone because I grew up in the bluegrass scene. My dad plays banjo, my entire life. I've never missed a bluegrass
Fiddler's convention.
Fiddler's convention. I don't know. Have y'all ever been to those?
Down Airy, the Fiddlers Convention.
Uh-huh. Have you been to the Galax one?
Yes. Everybody, I went to ETSU for the bluegrass program, and everybody would go to that. That was like a thing. But I was always with these guys on the road every time.
Thanks, guys, for ruining a good time.
Making tens of dollars.
Well, since y'all are in Asheville, y'all have to come up. We actually live less than a mile from it, and so we go. Yeah, and then we always go to the Galax one, and it's just a lot of good times. And Hippie Hill, that's the place to be at nighttime. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
Sounds like we belong there.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys are North Carolina natives, right?
Well, the band is technically of North Carolina. Carson was born in Wilson, North Carolina.
Oh,
Nice.
How far is that from us?
Wilson?
Did you say Wilson?
Wilson's past Raleigh, right?
Other side of Raleigh, yeah.
Yeah. It's about 3 hours.
I thought you said Wilkson. I was like, Wilson? But yeah, no, Wilson.
The locals pronounce it with a T right between the L and the S.
So
they're from there, so we take their word.
I grew up in Raleigh, but not born there. But I grew up there.
Okay, cool. So where are y'all from?
Yeah, how about we do a little introduction?
Yeah,
of
let's do an
your
introduction.
name, what you play, and where you're from.
Okay.
Cool. I'm Jesse. I play mandolin and sing, and I was born in the hills of Pennsylvania. Grew up near Ithaca, New York, in Elmira before I moved south. I met these guys.
Cool.
I was born up north in New Jersey, but my folks moved down here when I was 2. So I was raised in Raleigh, North Carolina. Oh, my name's Tommy. I play the Dobro. I'm a Cancer Leo cusp. And that's all I got to say.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
That's it. That's all. So the Dobro.
I'm Joe. I play guitar, and I was born in Pennsylvania, near Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm from Elizabethtown.
Cool.
And I'm a double Virgo. No, I don't know that.
Full Virgo.
I'm Carson, and I play the bass. And as you already know, I'm from Wilson, North Carolina.
Wilson.
North Carolinian. Whoop, whoop.
I'm Michael. I play the drums. I'm from Florida before Asheville. Been in Asheville 14 years, but before that, Jacksonville and Daytona Beach, Florida.
Ooh, lots of good spots.
East Coast band.
Yeah, so y'all are all pretty much the whole spectrum of the East Coast there.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You get a whole different, you can tell when your music, you get all those different fusions going from all those different spots for sure.
Yeah, we grew up in similar, MTV, whatever was on. And then, got into similar kind of jammy stuff later.
And whatever I was poisoning my parents' computer with online.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. It is so interesting. Our age being on MTV and then and then how like you switched to bluegrass. Like, how did you get into bluegrass? Like, how did that get its way into your life, especially the ones like not in North Carolina or
or in the South.
Yeah.
So I grew up, my dad in Pennsylvania and New York, my dad had a banjo and played kind of like folky stuff. And, we would dance around kind of like, I don't know, not making fun of it, but like it was a funny sound to us. So we would like blast it on a stereo. And then I got into, Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead, also Nickel Creek, Alison Krauss, Union Station, stuff like that right around the time I moved south. And then I realized that there's this awesome tradition of everybody picking together down there. I didn't grow up going to picking circles, but by the time I got to college, like those casual, just like stay up all night around the fire and play, it just started to seep in. I was like, this is super cool.
Yeah.
And so, we all kind of bonded over not knowing what this was, but being fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And,
definitely.
We met Joe. He was going to school for bluegrass up in Johnson City, ETSU. And we had already started Fireside, and we're looking for like people that love bluegrass, but also would be willing to play rock and roll and crazy, weird stuff like that. It's hard to find those crossover people, but
it is. It is. I mean, it just takes a special, takes a special musician,
Yeah, because we love it. We want to honor it, but we also we literally just worked on a Green Day song and a Stone Temple Pilots song. Just
that's gonna be
awesome.
sick.
Try to keep it real.
Yeah, exactly. And keep to yourself. Like, you're not just that bluegrass person. Like, you're fitting everything in, and you found that vibe of people, which is always, that's why I call this the Jamly Chick, is because being out there, I found my family in the jam, in any type of jams, whether it be bluegrass, rap, electric.
Well, with every genre, you have those circles. You know what I mean? You have the drum circles. You have the acoustic. You have the rap battles in circles. You know what I mean? So it's that foundation of being in just being in the street or in the woods. You know what I mean? And just starting just your basic. Your basic stuff.
Your basic jam, and then just grow from there. So that's really cool how y'all all came together, and also in such a beautiful part of the state. I don't know if y'all know, I went to Western Carolina, so Asheville is just I love it. Yeah, my stomping grounds and stuff. So I love any excuse to get up there.
Hell yeah.
It's a very magical place too. Asheville's a very special place.
It really is.
It really is. So okay, a lot of people don't know what the dobro is. So when I was listening to y'all, and I love to do this thing since growing up bluegrass. I'll just be like, is that a banjo or a mandolin? Because a banjo and a mandolin can sound extremely similar. And and then I was just listening to all the different tunes. I was like, oh my gosh, they have more. And then when I was like looking in and I was like, they have a dobro player too. So can you kind of explain to what people to a dobro, like what a dobro is, and
kind of please me more.
I'm gonna take a break real quick. Well, I happen to have one in my pocket.
And this was not planned, y'all. Like, I totally didn't.
I was just practicing it. So the dobro started off as an invention from these immigrants from Czechoslovakia back in the 20s, and the acoustic guitar, they were brothers. The acoustic guitar had not electric amplification had not been invented yet. So these brothers were trying to figure out how to make the guitar louder, because there was a guitar craze in America in the 20s, and they put this cone in there. Underneath this big hubcap is a metal speaker cone, and it projects the volume and makes the regular acoustic guitar like twice as loud. And they were called the Dopiera brothers was their, and then the company they started is Dobro.
Dobro, yeah.
Brothers,
and then also in Slovakian language, dobro is like what you say when you're like cheersing somebody. You say dobro. So and it means like good health. So their slogan was something like "good in every language" or something. And then electric amplification was invented soon after, and then the dobro became kind of obsolete. But people had, no pun intended, resonated with the sound of it, and it slowly made its way into like folk music, blues music, and then it had a huge renaissance in Hawaii. And then the dobro, like if you ever watch SpongeBob SquarePants,
I'll give him a little break.
you know,
You get a little Hawaii reference.
No, this is yeah.
part of the dobro's history is the Hawaiian era.
Interesting.
It went over there, and then the Hawaiians are the ones that put it on their lap, tuned it to an open tuning, and then raised the strings up. Before it was meant to just be a guitar with a resonator. So you probably heard something like this.
Yeah.
In Bikini Bottom.
You know that
Yeah.
Hawaiian.
Yes.
So the dobro then sort of made its way into like the folk sounds of the American South in country music and blues. And then, it's just kind of maintained relevancy and is the only instrument in the bluegrass, instrumentation that was like invented here. You know, everything else has roots in other countries. So it's like completely American.
That's really cool.
Thank you for explaining.
Thank you
all
for that.
A lot more that I left out, but that's the basic.
There'll be another episode for
yeah.
Dude, you totally have to come up here. We've got a good friend. I didn't even know all this about the dobro, but one of our good friends, he's like we call him Funkle T. His wife plays dobro, and she actually won the international.
Is that Big T? Does he go by Big T?
Yeah, Big T. You know Big T? Oh shit!
And Pammy.
Yeah, Big T and Pammy. Oh my gosh, this is what a small world. Like, dude, I love it.
So T played football with her stepdad at Carolina.
No way.
Yeah, he played basketball too.
Giant.
Yeah, he played basketball there too. Yeah.
So my whole life I've grown up with like Big T at the alumni games, all this stuff. And so
that's who we go to the Fiddler convention with, was T and Paris.
Yeah. So it's most deaf. We have to do this. That's so awesome. I can't believe that y'all know that. Like a small world. I guess
that's the scene though. It's just like everyone knows everyone.
Yeah. I'm even more excited now. I was excited about this because growing up, a lot of jam bands, I love that that now like the jam scene is also kind of colliding with the bluegrass scene, and it's so awesome because the bluegrass scene is so beautiful. The people are so beautiful. And just how the music is flowing. It's really cool how it's coming together.
Well, that's what Garcia did back in the 60s.
Yeah, bluegrass gave birth.
They were just a folk band,
Well, I mean, y'all know that, but I'm like a little girl from the South that, I'm a little girl from the South that her daddy played banjo and I went to Fiddler's conventions. So like, literally this is embarrassing. When I went in high school, I heard a Pink Floyd shirt on. And I did not know it was a band. Like I listened to like Carolina beach music, bluegrass music, and so it was like literally like local music from around here. And then in high school, like, and I started like venturing out doing my things, and so music became so important to me that I skipped my senior prom to go see a Buffett concert because it was like prom Buffett. I'll take Buffett any day. So it's all been a learning curve on my own. So when he's like, yeah, I'm like, no, really, I didn't know this. But that's really cool about the dobro. And something also interesting that I find about y'all's band is you also have a drummer, which is not typical in a bluegrass setup at all.
Breaking all the rules.
Breaking it all, man. Tearing it down, building the reestablishment.
Resetting the rules. That's
right.
So, me being a drummer, I've always said that bluegrass needs some drumming in it too.
Yeah.
We love having drums.
it
Yeah.
equalizes it. It just, I don't, it just,
Oh, it adds another. I mean, it adds a lot.
yeah.
You know, it adds another layer, another more depth. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Really more depth. Yeah. Mike, that's Mike. He's so good at drums right
yeah.
there.
The quiet drummer. Well, go ahead.
Oh, so what? When y'all are doing some shows in Indiana and Kentucky this week, right? And
Yep.
then in North Carolina and South Carolina next week.
Yep.
Oh, what days are the North Carolina and South Carolina days?
I think it's
Charlotte is next. Is Charlotte Thursday?
Yeah.
it's the first, right? Yeah.
Oh, I can't
Charlotte's on
wait.
Thursday.
May 1st.
Then we're heading down to Charleston area, play with Yonder on Friday, and then Birdfest on Saturday, which is Somerville, I think, or Pinewood, South Carolina. I think it's like between Columbia and Charleston.
Cool. What's y'all's favorite part about touring?
I mean, we get to eat really good food all over.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of like the shows and the magic that happens on stage, I think it's really cool. We were chatting the other day and we were just like, man, like think about how much travel and experiences that we get to do that you wouldn't normally, like we've been, and not just the obvious ones. Like it's awesome that we get to go to Denver. It's awesome we go, to major cities, but we also go to these really cool small towns in the middle of Kansas or wherever that give us a great glimpse into life in this country and in this world today. It's really cool to, like, we saw this old theater in Kansas one time that was designed after the what was the theater called? The one that Abe Lincoln died in.
Ford Theater?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
okay.
I'm glad someone knew their trivia on that because we would have looked bad.
Right. This is before Ford.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it was an exact replica. So this giant theater in the middle of Kansas. It was like a world-class theater, and the town itself, like the whole town probably could have fit into this theater.
Yeah.
But like it was super cool. Just like, I mean, we got to go down to Mexico a couple of years ago and play music with some folks down there. Getting to go out to the East Coast or the West Coast is pretty awesome.
Yeah, one thing about the method of travel, like we're van and trailer, big van and the pulling a trailer, is you do get to go explore parts of the country on days off in little towns and go into the town and kind of like, it might be harder to do that in like a tour bus. Tour bus sounds freaking awesome. Hope we get there.
Yeah, we would be in a tour bus, but it wouldn't let us go to these places. So maybe
exactly.
Yeah.
We would get to talk to the sweet people of Manhattan, Kansas.
That's right.
That's
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it allows, being in a smaller vehicle definitely allows for more experience and more, in depth.
Yeah. And that was, I was going to ask, like, how do you equalize? Because you're on the road so much. So is there like so that leading into that, how do you normalize? Because it is hard being on the road. I'm not on the road as much as y'all are, but being a band photographer, and I'll be on the road for 14 days and 13 shows out of it, and it comes to a part where you're about like a few days in, you're about to lose your mind. No matter how much you love your fans, what you're doing, it is all a blessing. We're not saying that, but it's you're not in there's no peaceful spot. There's no safe spot. You're literally going from town to town to town and, so close and spaced with all these people. And, so how do you find that moment to breathe? Is there like anything that you do personally for yourself to help get through this?
I go on lots of long walks.
There you go.
Every town I go for like an hour walk.
He does.
That's my favorite part of the day.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how much you see through that too.
Yeah. Just go walk around, explore wherever we're at.
Yeah.
So it's something interesting.
Take a break from us.
Yeah. See, I would have to do that. I love people. I'm a very big people person, but I still have to have like that hour walk. Like, and if I don't after so long, I'm just like, So that's where my hat is off to y'all of how y'all can just, such an awesome thing, but I don't think that people also see the other parts of like there's no privacy, there's nowhere to get away to, you know, and no matter what, everyone enjoys their privacy, no matter how much they say they don't. So, but y'all been doing so many big things, and it's just been so amazing. Like I think I was reading the best band of the year or at Merle Fest or what
was it? The band competition?
the band competition.
That was an early accomplishment.
Yeah,
Oh, that
2016.
was sorry.
That was
Okay,
years ago.
I'll come.
Still riding that, you know.
We're gonna ride it forever, dude.
Now that we're in the jam scene, there's not like, it doesn't have the same, like the bluegrass scene has a lot of those types of, there's like conventions and like spots to like, you know,
Yeah.
so the jam scene is so broad and so all encompassing that like, you know, I mean, I'm sure there are still battles of the bands, but it's different because the jam scene is so much about community and being in the moment. Yeah.
Bluegrass.
One reason I love the jam scene is because it feels like we're all on the same team. You know?
Yes, that's beautiful.
Other bands, it's like we're all, you know, kind of just reinterpreting life through music and allowing it to grow and change. There's a lot of bands that are like this genre from start to finish, and you know,
and
those strict rules of
did y'all have the intent of becoming a jam band, or just were you just strictly bluegrass and then eventually playing a little bit of rock and roll, and then maybe, or did it naturally just go from like it did with the Dead, from, you know, folk band into, you know?
I mean, it's hard to say exactly. Like, I played in a college band with Carson. It was a jam band, and we loved bluegrass, but we didn't know how to play it. So when that band stopped, I moved to Asheville and got really into bluegrass. At the same time, Tommy and Carson, we were just playing like casual gigs. We'd go out to the Outer Banks where Tommy was working, play casual like bluegrassy gigs, but we weren't like pickers back then. And when the band was started, you know, kind of the initial mission was to find a bunch of Asheville pickers that were great at picking, but, you know, also were into the Dead and wanted to play that. And at the time, I couldn't find anybody
Not
either great pickers and didn't want to take it to a weird place, or they wanted to be in a weird place but couldn't quite pick the old stuff the way it should. So then I just hit up my college buddies, and so we put the band together. And we were considering adding like a percussionist out of the gate, but we ended up going with banjo just because that's who we knew. There wasn't really intention with the banjo. We weren't saying we're going to add a banjo. We'd actually been looking for fiddle, but then we added banjo for a couple of years. And then we were like, shit, this is kind of what we got to work with. And we'd always talked about adding drums later. But then you run into like a 6-piece band. Logistically, it's more people to take care of, more to coordinate. So when we, you know, parted ways with our banjo player, we were like, now's the time. We don't want to add another instrument and then another instrument. Like, let's just make the change now. And it came at a nice place in our career where like COVID had just happened. And so we became a lot more intentional. We decided, let's talk about what we are. Let's discuss where we want to be. Do we want to be in this jam scene or this bluegrass scene forever? Or do we want, you know, we always kind of saw ourselves as a little bit more than just bluegrass because we'd go in Americana.
I had imposter syndrome when we were in that phase.
Yeah, Tommy didn't know who he was.
I was like,
where he was most of the time.
He's like, you just point me in the direction and we'll go that way.
We did a good job of absorbing the foundations of the genre individually as musicians and then collectively as a band, digging hard into the old stuff. But like deep down, I felt, maybe these other guys can resonate too, like that I felt a little, even growing up in North Carolina, you know, I'm like, I didn't listen to that growing up. I heard it at the North Carolina State Fair once a year, you know, but it struck me in such a way that I loved it, but I still felt like well, this is just a part of my little journey. So it was cool that we all sort of agreed, like, hell yeah, we love this music, but what else can we do? You know, there was nobody that was like holding us back, or, you know, Jesse or Joe, Carson, nobody was like,
well, a lot of people,
yeah, let's stay bluegrass. Everyone was like, fuck it, yeah, let's see what else we can do.
A lot of people say, like, if you learn bluegrass or jazz, you can use that language to play like almost anything. Yeah. And I think it was, you know, whether it was fully intentional or not, I think we are all benefiting from going through that bluegrass phase and getting really tight and learning this language. And now, you know, in the same way that like Jerry Garcia would say the Grateful Dead is just a bluegrass band with electric instruments, you know, because of his interpretation of bluegrass and rock and roll, like, you know, their band was, everybody was part of the groove. It wasn't like you just sit on one drum beat and then everybody, you know, we all have rhythm and things that we've developed from bluegrass that now allows us to go into these, you know, techno grooves. And then we can still use our chops from bluegrass to play around there. But to us, it's opened a lot of doors. And I guess the last thing I would say is that we respect bluegrass a lot. And there are so many people that do it so well that we didn't want to be viewed as people like doing anything, you know, taking anything away from it. Form. And what we feel like we bring is like kind of the ability to blend a lot of elements, use that bluegrass, you know, language, but like mix that with a funk song, and suddenly it sounds unique because it's played on bluegrass instruments, but Mike's a nasty funk drummer. So like, you know, we love hybrid. We love mashing things together.
I think it's great. I think it's the way that music of the future is kind of coming together. Is, you know, it's not, we're just not putting ourselves in one box. We're just not, you know, how are y'all gonna find this to jive? How is everything gonna come together? We've got to find a way to incorporate the past and the future for the present and to be able to move forward. And y'all are doing an absolutely beautiful job of that. And I absolutely love it. Y'all have, again, gotten shower time. I'm just like, I'm like, dang, if you get shower time if you're that good that you get shower time that you're jamming out to, I was like, it's not often that someone's thrown onto my playlist. And so,
Nice. Like shower time playlist.
I was super impressed. I was like, Dad, you've got to listen to them. You've got to listen to them. And so y'all are just so amazing. And just like you were saying, the way that you have incorporated all the different things that you've learned throughout your life, you can definitely tell that it's taking your musicianship to a different level. And even I mean, the tiniest word to describe it better, because there's a y'all are at a much higher level, and I can hear that composition in the songs of like the bluegrass, the jam part, the jazz, and that's why when I was listening to it, that I was listening so much harder, because growing up in the bluegrass scene, I was like, wait a minute, that's a banjo. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a dobro in that too. And so I was giving myself that little pop quiz. Do you know which instruments are in this? And so y'all definitely have brought it. And I am happy that y'all are growing so much and, you know, out there and have lots of things coming, because y'all definitely deserve it. So who of y'all, like, what would be your dream of a musician to play with? Because there's y'all are in a big group of genre. And it can even go back to someone who's not alive. So it doesn't have to be someone who's alive.
I'll go ahead and say Jerry Garcia.
Yeah. So I guess that would be the
Beethoven. That'd be a sick collab.
That would be
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, that'd be super.
With old Bob Dylan, that'd be fun.
Yeah. And then if y'all could go back and change, like completely, like switch it to another, let's see, if you could switch gears and join a completely different genre and play a completely different instrument, what would you pick?
Hardcore gangster rap.
Yeah. So I could totally see that. Get your dobro out there with it. You're changing completely different.
When we
That would be-
started on Wu-Tang Clan,
Seriously, don't get them.
No, see, I had to get I had to get a new phone because my phone number was being given out too much. And the only way that I can remember the phone number, I was so upset when I got it because I was like, what phone number is this? But Jason looks over and he's like, dude, look, you got 369 in your phone. And now that's the only way I can remember my phone number is because it has 369. So,
One more time.
so that
So have y'all been in the studio or anything recently, or what? I mean, have you got any new music coming out, or what's the?
Yeah.
Can you give me the intel on that?
Yeah, so we've released two singles so far from a session. We've got a new one coming, I think May 9th.
Yeah.
And then we've probably got 2 or 3 more singles throughout the summer, and then a new album coming. Like we're going into the studio for vocals in like 5 days. Yeah. We're gonna go finish the vocals to the rest of the tracks. We're super stoked about it because I mean it's got the drums. It's representing kind of the direction we're moving in. We've got a lot of great bluegrass albums if you want to hear that side of us. But we've got one live album with drums. Yeah. And then other than that, you know, if you're not on Nugs, it's hard to hear us with our new sound, which is what we want people to hear us with. So we're stoked to get this album out. And, you know, we've got a classic Fireside sound, but we've also got some new stuff. Like the last song that we released has like techno grooves in it.
Ooh,
the next one out, I kind of think of as like almost like a Chili Peppers kind of energy to it. So we're letting our influences through a little more than we could as a straight bluegrass outfit, you know.
I'm loving every single bit of this. And
so the new stuff was what, Down in the Holler? That's the name of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to that earlier, and I was like, this is awesome.
That's what you can
really
see. That's where you can see the different genres and the different thing, like of how y'all are adding all that together and the levels of, you know, or that you're putting together. It's absolutely amazing. And so definitely everyone needs to get out there on Nugs because Nugs are what you just said y'all are on, right?
Yeah, Tommy and our sound guy, BJ, they get those shows up fast. I don't even know how.
That's awesome. Good job, y'all. Thank you.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
Y'all also have like the 4848 Festival, Grassfire, Bender Jamboree, and a lot of other festivals coming up. So y'all got a busy summer ahead.
Totally. You know, we got a nice style of touring now. Like we actually don't really go out for more than 2 weeks that much because the way that just like radius clauses work, you can't hit the same area over and over. Plus we've got families back home and we want to make it sustainable. We'd like to do this for another 20 years.
That's amazing. That's a big thing of like, how do you make it sustainable? How do you make it? And I guess that, and earlier in the question, I was like, how do you make it to where you're on the road? And then you just came back and answered that, you know, we've got to make it to where it's sustainable because some people will burn themselves out. They're just like, go, 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 go. And just like you said, you can't be in the same area over so much because people, we've seen that, you know, and you've got to make it. So that's really cool to hear that, you know, the
checks and balances.
The checks and balances, of it.
And mental health is like number one.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. That's very important. And I think that's something that's a big thing in the scene now that everyone is realizing. And also, I am so thankful that y'all have pointed that out and make sure and are supportive of one another to realize that y'all all you have families and, you know, just like I said earlier, I need me time too. So y'all all need me time and, you know, that time where you can just relax and chill and be in peace. And so that's great example, guys. Great example. And more people definitely need to hear that. So when are y'all going to be home next playing? Oh, wait a minute. North Carolina, you said 2 weeks.
Well, Charlotte and South Carolina.
And South Carolina.
So I guess, what is that? What is today? Is today Wednesday or Thursday? Today's
Thursday.
I have those same questions. What's today?
We were in Denver 2 days ago. And
oh, wow.
smoked a lot of herbs since that day. And so, it's 420 week.
Oh, heck yeah.
Celebration nowadays.
We got to celebrate the whole week. Or we should just celebrate the whole month. That's what, that's what I do with my birthday. And
yeah. Let's go.
But oh my gosh, I'm super excited to see y'all. And so last time in Charlotte, y'all had a really good show in Charlotte. I wasn't there, but Jolene was telling me that she was at that show, and she was telling me that that it was so awesome that y'all put that show in vinyl, actually.
Yep.
And
that's our one live album.
Oh wow,
here in Charlotte.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Do y'all plan on doing any of those in the future? Any more live albums?
Definitely.
I love the live albums. I feel like it's just more of what we get and what we feel, because also the studio albums, I don't know so when you're in the studio, good question now, since you're in the studio, do y'all kind of do what you do live, or do you do something completely different to satisfy that side of your brain with music? I don't know if I made sense.
For sure. This album, more than any other album, felt more like what we do on stage. A lot of times we're facing tight budgets, or we're recording with a producer who has a certain goal in mind. And this time we wanted to really just give ourselves time for ourselves and really lean into what we do. So a lot of the solos are, played in the moment. We tracked everything together initially. Nice. We go back in and tighten things up here and there. Some of the solos we take many times over to get the right thing, and we'll do the vocals after, we've got all the tracks down. But this album for sure has way more variation as far as representing what we are as a band and the places we go. Our last album was maybe our bluegrassiest album yet. And so it's kind of funny that we tend to do that. Our first album was pretty progressive. Then we did a really bluegrassy one. Then we tried to go outside of the box a little more. Then back to bluegrass. This one is the furthest swing in any direction. And there's still bluegrass on there. There's still bluegrass grooves, but there's also crazy synth and, some jams that actually took place in the studio, some improv, and it was a really great recording process. But what I'm excited about is a lot of the other ones felt stressful, just because that's the nature of you're recording now.
Yeah.
And the spaces are sometimes, the energy matter. When you're
definitely.
Do you feel like the producer has a lot, like when you were saying earlier? Because that's something that you hear in different musicians' albums too, that sounds nothing like what they do on stage.
Yeah.
But then it's well, the producer really wanted this, and that's always the questionable thing. Well, the producer, but isn't the producer producing what the artist wants? So. And that's this time, did you feel more around, did you get a producer that you were no, we're going to do what we want to do and not what you want to do? Or I don't know.
Y'all just producing it by yourself?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we produced
We did get the producer that does what we want to do.
There you go. Yeah.
We allowed it to go where we want to. And we were younger before. So a lot of times we welcomed that producer's voice who could help us as, developing musicians, help us make decisions. Whereas now I feel like we have a lot more intention and a lot more idea of what makes us unique.
And a lot more experience, what y'all are.
The energy in the studio is great. And I'm excited beyond what the actual physical sound is. The spirit of what we captured in the studio was very collaborative. It was very joyful. Nobody was hey, you didn't play that part right. It was fun. And I think we all had a positive experience. And I think that is going to kind of transcend the actual music, which is also really good. I think I really like the music, but I really like our spirit and the way we approached it.
Playful. It's a more playful album in a lot of ways.
That's
There's
awesome.
funny stuff. There's deep stuff. There's tight jams.
A lot of artistic freedom.
Yeah.
And y'all are all like original band members too, right? Like y'all haven't had any transitions in and out or anything, just adding new. Am I right on that? Just adding new,
No.
like
Just old Michael, but it seems like he's always been there.
but that's what, yeah. So, and that also is another thing that, you know, y'all been through the ups and downs and gotten through, and that will most likely show, you know, because that's another thing a lot of bands don't do, are able to keep that together. And so what you were saying earlier with, you know, making sure that we want to see this as a long-term thing, and we've got to, you know, to make it sustainable and things. And so these are all very important things that a lot of bands should possibly be taking notes on from y'all.
Well, y'all been together for 11 years, right? Since 2014.
Yeah, and I mean, Tommy, Carson, and I had like a friendship that actually there was a point in time when Tommy and I lived together, and I wanted to play music with him, but he didn't play a bluegrass instrument at the time. And then 2 years later, he was like already pretty solid at the Dobro. So it's like, it was kind of cool because we've always just been friends. Like Tommy recorded my first album that I ever did by myself.
That was fun.
And he was like, you know, working in a studio and
same studio that we just recorded
that's
in.
true.
Yeah.
Which is like
Nice.
nice.
Full circle. Yeah, that's awesome.
Full circle.
yeah, like 15 years later, the studio I like interned in basically to learn how to like engineer. We are back. That's where we just recorded. And the guy that I worked with is still there. His name is Matt Williams. Yeah.
And
Is that Nashville?
It's in Asheville. Yeah, Weaverville technically, but yeah, the
Weaverville.
Asheville area. And you know, for us, like personality and vibe is so big. And like, you know, Joe joined basically in the beginning. Like we had a year or so where we were just, you know, we played breweries and trio gigs. We had some other members come and go in the first year, but you're really just kind of putting it together. And then Joe came and, you know, played one show with us, and we never even talked about him, whether he was in the band or not. He was just in the band.
Technically,
We haven't added him. Michael is a new member than Joe. Joe's just featured.
it was it'll be in October.
2015,
October will be 10 years.
That's wild.
Wow.
Very, yeah. I mean, that's when the band really, started, because the formative years and like stuff. So we should actually ask Joe if he wants to join the band.
Okay, let's do it. Let's make it official on the show. Get down on your knees, guys. Have Joe stand up. Get down on your knees.
Joe Cicero.
Please
Join. I can't use my word.
I'm in.
Yay! It's official.
This really means a lot to me.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. So, oh my gosh, you guys are amazing, and you can just tell how well that y'all jive together and get along. And I foresee a great future between y'all, and I love listening to the jams and everything. So
We appreciate the hell out of that, and you know, it's people like y'all are that makes it worth doing it. You know? So thank you.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all so much.
And we have something to do during the week with y'all playing music. It's a great escape, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Live music is always the best medicine, you know?
For sure.
It is. It truly is. So, well,
So future wise, besides the new album, where do you see yourselves within a year, 5 years, 10 more years? What, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see this going for 20 years. Like we kind of position ourselves to be a festival band, not exclusively, but to be able to, you know, appeal to your bluegrass roots festivals at the same time as a jam festival. And we love the community that's cultivated at festivals. And that's, you know, kind of like the part of the long-term vision. But, you know, we're hoping for some Red Rocks here in the next year or two.
Manifested.
We're
manifesting.
It's gonna happen.
It will.
Yeah, hoping to get on Jam Cruise at some point. You know, any of those types of events that are just like coveted in the scene. We have a lot of music still to be written. Like I know, just because I know these guys, I know us, I feel really confident that there's just tunes coming down the pipeline. Probably keep releasing for, I don't know, 2 more decades.
Till I'm
honestly.
dead.
Yeah.
Speaking of pipeline, I gotta pee.
You're good.
We're actually about to hop a ferry across the Ohio River to get to our gig today.
Oh,
is awesome.
sweet.
First
So
for us.
yeah.
I think we've taken a ferry.
I've never
to
ridden on a
gig.
ferry.
Well, we did in Mexico,
Oh yeah.
but we didn't drive our vehicle onto the ferry.
Oh, so y'all were driving the vehicle. That's
We're
fine.
driving
Make
the
sure
van and trailer. Yeah.
make sure to hear the horn, and then you can
yeah.
once the horn comes, then you can get out. And if you have bread, feed the seagulls and stuff. That's a fun part. Get on the back of the boat so the birds are on the back of the boat and they're not pooping on top of you. I learned that lesson from a small age.
Yeah, we take the ferries on the coast of North Carolina all the time.
Oh yeah. I love
Yeah.
like Okra Coke and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we go.
We go from Southport to Fort Fisher.
Yeah.
We go to the aquarium down there.
It's on the very bottom, like right before
It's near Wilmington.
Okay.
Oak Island, Southport.
Oak Island. Yeah.
It's that one, and then it attached to where the lighthouse and things. So, but this has been awesome, guys. I'm super excited. Can't wait to like meet up with y'all soon for sure.
definitely.
And
Are y'all coming to Charlotte, or we got
Yes.
Winston-Salem coming up too?
we'll come to both.
We'll be at both.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
I think we might have added you guys to the list there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll double check with management.
Thank you.
But yeah, we'd love to see you guys and hang out for the night.
Yeah.
that would
Oh
be
yeah,
awesome.
that'd be really fun.
Lots of
Bye.
fun. Hi. So,
But hey, thank y'all so much. We know you have to go.
thank you guys so much for coming on. We will see y'all in just a couple of weeks. And
Next week.
We'll see you next week. And
Awesome.
hope y'all have a great ferry trip over and a great night tonight playing. So
Yep.
Appreciate
don't
it.
don't forget that Dobro.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool.
That's all, folks.
That's
all.
right. That's all. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
guys.
Guys.
See ya.